What is up, good people? What's up, good people? Back in the building once again, ready to go. Got a good show for you today. I saw the thumbnail. We're going to be joined by JudgeZilla the Beast, who normally comes up here and brings us a lot of laughter. But this is a serious topic, but we probably still may end up having some fun with it, knowing Judge. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to play this one by ear. This will be a unique interview when y'all will see when it y'all will see when it gets going. Y'all will definitely see when it gets going how this is all going to play out, because we do got a serious discussion, serious topic to cover. So I look forward to having that discussion with him. I have not sent him the link yet. I will be doing that momentarily. So stay tuned and be waiting on that. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what time it is. Let me get this scrolling right there on the screen. This is the Grown Man Hour with your host, Bernard Riley. I'd like to welcome everybody once again. Make sure you're hitting that like button on your way in. You know what time it is. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mumia Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley, heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
Now you can hear me. I said something groundbreaking and just world-shattering, paradigm-shifting right there when he was muted. It was so profound, I only could say it once. And when I said it, I was on mute. And y'all couldn't hear it. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Y'all will not hear that earth-shattering, ground-splitting news and information that I gave y'all when I was on mute. So yeah, very, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. I think y'all needed to hear that. I think y'all really needed to hear that. However, like to welcome everybody to the show as I always do. Shout out to the early bird squad, those that make it in bright and early and drop a comment before we even get things going here. I appreciate every last one of you. He says, here we go. It's Killmatic in the building. Hillmatic in the building. Says good morning, world. I don't know if world is the right. I mean, I gotta get a little bigger before we could be talking about some good morning, world. Get morning, small pocket of individuals who kind of like to hang out. You know, I won't put world on that list. I don't know if I will put world on there just yet. Good yet. He says, Demario Sims says, like hell, we ain't taking it seriously. We're better than white people when it comes to being cautious about this pandemic. Well, I don't know. We'll get into that. I'm sure Judge will have some interesting information on that. He didn't exactly pick the title about whether or not black folks are taking it serious or not, but he just said something about people need to know to take this thing seriously. I added black folks need to take it serious. So I don't know exactly what his take is on that when he gives his opinion on whether or not or state his facts on whether or not black folks are taking it serious or not. Then hey, we might I may change the thumbnail. He may pull out some data that shows that we're the best. We're number one. You never know. But so we'll see. D-Rock Dan says, good morning, BR. Salute Judge Zilla. Young Jay in the building says, what up, family? Bowdy Thug in the building. Cajun Raised. What's going on? Yeah, I'm on CB time. I'm working on it. I'm going to get that figured out by 2021. Give me a minute. Al Boogie in the building. Dark Low IQ. What's going on? American Negro. Welcome. Olu TV, aka Falcon Black. Okay, yeah, I kind of thought y'all was the same person. I wasn't sure. And last shout out will be Michael Ross in the building, coming through with a super chat early on. And without further ado, I'm going to bring up the man of the hour, who, if I know and understand him correctly, he's gonna talk to us about some general things about COVID, but he does have a personal story in this thing, and I'll let him get into that as we get going. So we'll definitely see how this goes. But thanks, Michael Ross. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. And without further ado, the man of the hour, Judge Zilla, the beast, in the building. What's going on? How you doing, man?
I'm doing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we almost gotta start off, because I know people are used to hearing you in an upbeat mood and fairly excited, bringing the jokes. But just right off the bat, when I just hear you say, "Hey, I'm doing," people might want to know why you sound like you're a little down in the dumps. I hate to just jump right into it, but you can start off by telling the folks, generally what you told me in the email that prompted this discussion that we're about to have.
Yeah, how's my sound?
Oh, you sound great.
Right, thank you. I've been kind of AFK and out of the scene for a while. Pretty much knowing that I'd be a wet blanket, and
yeah,
I didn't want to be a wet blanket on people trying to have fun, relax, and a good time. First, Bernard,
yeah.
I am very grateful that you're allowing me to come on the platform this way and talk about something that YouTube doesn't really want channels to talk about. Quite frankly, there was a soft ban on this for a good part of the year for content creators, talking about this pandemic and the virus that causes this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll try to be very careful in how I reference it so that it doesn't hit you in your analytics.
Yeah, I got a feeling that I'm already taking that risk going in, so it'll be hard to talk about it without saying it. So I mean, if we say it, There's the nickname for it, which everyone calls it. I believe you can get away with saying Dorona, but I don't know. So I mean, if you end up having to say it by its medical science, by the scientific name or the street name for it, I mean, I'm not tripping. So just go ahead and speak freely, because it is what it is, and it's ridiculous that they don't want people talking about it. But yeah, I'm taking a slight chance. I don't think it'll be a big thing. If anything, it'll just trip up the. I hear it trips the algorithm a little bit when you if you say it too much on your show. But I've said it on this show before, so I just never did a very specific topic on it. But yeah, no, I've definitely talked about it here. So yeah, it's fair game. So yeah, you can go ahead and speak freely, but we'll try to try not to just throw it out there that much. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, Ricardo, Rodney, I appreciate it, but I'm not a content creator. You can go ahead and strike that. There's no point for that. But I do appreciate your sentiment. Yeah, no, as Bernard alluded to, most of you probably recognize me as being a fairly prodigious troll. Some of you may recognize me as being a dumbass. Probably more of you do that, and some of you may recognize me as being a smartass that talks too much, and maybe shares his opinions too much. But what I hope is that you'll listen to this. You'll listen to my account here, and maybe I don't know. Maybe give it a little bit more. Just give it a little bit of consideration. I don't know how best to get into this. I've been thinking about it over the weekend. I contacted Bernard on Friday, and I still don't really know how to start this off really well. So please, be patient with me. But I guess the best way is, kind of. It's okay. Some people know my greeting or salutation that I use is Hail Cybertron.
Mm-hmm.
That comes from when this whole thing kind of started and information was coming out about it, slowly, and nobody knew what was going on really. I just got fed up, and after trying to tell people, that they needed to take this stuff seriously, or give it some consideration at least. And there were just all kind of wild rumors and myths and accusations and conspiracy theories and all kinds of things coming out. I just kind of threw my hands in the air and said, fine, you guys are going to believe what you're going to believe. I made some flippant, ridiculous statement, and at the end of it, signed it with Hail Cybertron. And so that's kind of been a salutation that I've carried with me for about 10 months now. Here's the irony. The irony is, even though I've never been a COVID denier, I've tried to tell people to take it seriously. Last week, we lost my father to complications with COVID. I'm currently in quarantine because my father lived with me. And again, I've never been a COVID denier. But I can say that we didn't do all the things that we needed to do. And just if you allow me to give my account of it.
Go ahead and take your time. Take your time.
Yeah. Been in quarantine for the last week here. And prior to that, my pops, he came through and he said he wasn't feeling well. He had went to work on Monday. He was fine. So Tuesday came around and he there was no real complications or complaints really. But then Wednesday came around and he called in for work, and my pops doesn't do that. My pops doesn't do that. But what he thought and what I, thought as well, trusted my pops, was that he was coming down with the flu. That's what he thought. Same thing happened last year. Same thing happened the year before.
Mm-hmm.
About the same time. And for those of you that aren't aware, flu and Rona have very similar symptoms. It's a very similar symptomology. When you look them up, they're almost indistinguishable if you're not a trained medical professional. And so he thought it was the flu, and we were just going to act as if had for the last couple of years, few years, and so but I told him, that if you're feeling, let's not be stupid about this. If you're feeling anything that might be associated with this, with the Rona type situation, let me know. We're out the door. He said, no. It's just the flu, and he'll be all right. So, I'm checking on him, keeping tabs on him. And again, like I said, we live together. He lives with me, and the point of that is, so I, was supposed to be at least, so I keep an eye on him. But he wasn't like I said, he was working full time. He was working a physical job at full,
How old
so,
was he?
62.
Okay.
62. And he regularly put in overtime. We had a conversation like on that Monday, and he was perfectly as he would normally be. Older man had worked a lot of physical labor jobs, but and so he had older man complaints. Knees, back, putting on a little bit of weight.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing that we wouldn't have. I have to also add this. Didn't like doctors, didn't like to go to hospital, didn't like going to doctors, didn't like to go to hospital. I don't know that he had seen a doctor in the last 20 years. I don't know that he had a primary care physician. But there were some assumptions to be made of high blood pressure. His diet wasn't great. The only vegetables he saw were usually in a taco or on a burger.
Guilty. I'm guilty of that late one. Yeah.
So, there's definitely a good suspicion of hypertension, high blood pressure, and definitely not morbidly obese, but obesity. So, anyway, the next day comes around, And I check on him again. I wake up and I check on him at about 5 o'clock in the morning. Check on him, see how he's doing. And I hear a cough. But again, I'm trusting him and going along with his deal about it being the flu, and so that's not unusual for him. But the cough wasn't as deep as I remember it last year or the year before, right? It wasn't as like phlegmy, if that makes sense. Because I last year I finally got him some Mucinex because he carried that cough with him probably for a good 3 to 4 months. Just that kind of dry hacking cough. And we got some Mucinex and we cleared that situation out. And anyway, that was last year. So he asked me to, go to, to run to the store and grab him some stuff, and obviously I go and do that. And then, throughout the day, but I'm also telling him, hey man, again, let's not be let's if you have any chest pains, chest constriction, chest tightness, anything, if lessening of taste, lessening of smell, any of these things, because obviously I look online and see some of the symptomologies. Like, let me know, and we'll get out of here, man. And he's like, no, I'll be all right. I'll be all right. So I go to grab his stuff from the store and come back, and I'm listening, like I'm doors open, his door's closed, my door's open, and I'm listening, and so the next day comes around, which would be Friday. Wake up, check on him again, because I'm checking on him like every 4 hours, and every 4, maybe 6 hours, but here it is Friday, and check on him again. No, I'm all right. I'll be all right. Go and grab him some soup from a place where he likes to get soup from. His old lady comes over, his girlfriend comes over, gives him some food, brings him some food. While I'm out grabbing the soup, and but he won't let her in. He's like, I'm sick, I don't want to let you in, but he takes the food from her. And so I come back with the stuff, and again, I'm checking on him every time that I hear him wake up, because he's coughing, right? So just going based on the normal routine situation, NyQuil, something like that, get some sleep. Obviously somebody's waking up when they're awake when they're coughing. Call over, hey man, are you all right? Let me know. And no, I'll be all right. I just want some rest. Cut to Sunday. He asked me to get him some other stuff from the store about 5 o'clock in the morning. And I go to the store, come back with it. He's telling me he's feeling a little bit weak, but once he gets some more fluids and more drink, he'll be all right. He's like, I think I'm coming around. I still feel really weak, but I think I'm coming around. And again, it's my pops. I trust him. That he knows, he knows himself, And so again, doors open. I'm working on my stuff. Minimal sound so I can keep track. At least I think that's what I'm doing. And I go to grab myself some breakfast, and I come back, and I at about 10:30, I hear him cough. Like I'm not playing. If we need to go, let's go. No, I just want some rest. And so I continue with my work. Go to grab something to eat. Probably about 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock in the evening.
So you're working from home during all of this, pretty much. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm on site. I am on site. He's literally no more than 30 feet away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Literally no more than 30 feet away from me. And something tells me to check on him. So I holler his name. Well, Pops. Right? It's not his name, but
Right.
I don't get a response. I holler again. I don't get a response. Start to panic. Go to the door. Start pounding on the door and hollering his name, and still no response. So I put shoulder to door. And there he is. There's no way he doesn't hear me. But he's not awake.
Hmm.
So I go over to him and I shake him. He's not the temperature he should be. So I slap him a couple of times to try to wake him up. Twist his sternum. Pinch the inside of his arm between his bicep and his tricep. Get no response. So I call 911. And I go and unlock the front door. And I start performing CPR. But I can't get him to come to. So the fire department EMS personnel comes through, and they take over from me, bag him and try to do it their way, and escort me out of the way. And I don't know what all they do after that. But none of it works. So after a while, the ME comes through, and take my pops.
Mm.
And now I got to make some calls because I failed in my job. To my sisters and family members. And a couple of days later, the ME says he tested positive for COVID. So I'm on currently on a 14-day quarantine. And I can't help think that that I should have done things better. That there were better things that I could have done. There were definitely better things that he could have done as well. But yeah, he could have had previous to all of this, he could have went to the doctor. He could have had some of his issues maybe better regulated. Between diet and maybe hypertension and and high blood pressure, because some of the things you were complaining about I'd looked up before, and those were definitely indicators of things that he was complaining about. But that's all stuff that's through there. Uh, but I it's my understanding, and the ME is under the same impression that it was heart failure, or a heart attack or heart failure, uh, cardiac arrest, sorry, or heart failure. Um, and so afterwards, going through and checking out some of the things with the flu and with COVID.
Wait, really quick, Judge. Hold your thought really fast. Well, first off, Buck Dodger says, "So sorry for your loss, Judge Zilla. Having almost lost my father twice. My heart goes out to your brother." And yeah, I think we all feeling your pain. And look, people, there are individuals in the chat who I know and understand that y'all not feeling this whole pandemic, this virus. Y'all barely believe in it. I'm not trying to change your opinion on it. If you're entitled to believe whatever you want to believe. There's plenty of discussions about the government that can be had, and you can reel off your opinion about the government, your conspiracy theories. I'm not saying that we just all need to be some snowflakes right now, but some of y'all in the chat tripping. Like, I mean, have some sensitivity for the situation. I'm not saying we gotta join hands and all cry on each other's shoulder or nothing like that. I'm not, we're not going there. We're all grown men. Y'all are entitled to y'all opinion, but come on, let's not be ridiculous given the gravity of the situation that somebody is explaining to you. Let's act like we got some sense in the situation. You're entitled to your personal beliefs, feelings, ideas, or ideologies on the whole thing. Conspiracies. You're entitled to that. I'm not going to take your that away from you, but don't be a jackass in the situation for those individuals who were being jackasses. Let's act like adults for a minute. Okay, and also Olu TV, aka Black Falcon says, "I lost my stepdad in March. Be strong, brother." Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, continue on with exactly what you were saying.
No, I mean, thank you. I appreciate it. But I'm a staunch, Second Amendment believer.
Right.
And First Amendment believer.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. It's the internet, and people are what they are, and they do.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah. Sorry. But and my pops, he's a veteran, and staunch First Amendment believer as well. Even though he hated Trump, but he's still about that. You got a couple more in there.
Oh yeah, some of them do. Yeah, sends his condolences. Melody does the same.
Thank you.
And everybody who's doing it, we appreciate all of you. Yeah.
But okay, and so doing the going down a rabbit hole, about stuff. Look, hypertension, heart disease, with the flu, and with COVID, again, the symptomology is very, very closely related. And again, the flu is dangerous. Like, even if this wasn't the situation with the Rona, the flu is still dangerous. The flu leads to complications through pneumonia as well. And again, if you have the flu, you are also 6 times as likely. If you have the flu and have a heart disease, you're 6 times as likely to experience a heart attack, stroke, or cardiac arrest. So like these systems aren't without relation to each other. Your overall health, and also it's being complicated when you're being sick. If we would have taken this as serious as we should have, what I should have done, we can argue whether we can play this game. But what I should have done, and the reason why I'm on this panel tonight, or to this morning rather, sorry, is to analyze what I did, find its failings, and tell you what I did, tell you what the experience was from my end, so that you don't make the same mistakes that I made. So that I don't want anybody to have to experience the same thing. In this space, we constantly talk about bullshit about, it's not bullshit, but about women, white supremacy, all the other, rarely, bad mothers, right? Rarely in this space, not just this channel, but this space in general, do we actually talk about the health of men, black men or otherwise. Right? We're always focused on these other topics we rarely talk about. And again, and the other thing is, one of the rarest things that I hear talked about in this space is the health of our fathers. This is my best friend of 25 years. We were just looking forward for Cyberpunk 2077 to come out. Like, my pops was a gamer, this is, we don't talk about this stuff. I don't want any of you to have to experience and lose somebody like that to you. What I should have done is I should have said, look, from my perspective, I should have said, screw that, we're going to the hospital on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Does that mean he'd still be here today? No, but when that cardiac arrest hit, what if he would have been under supervision? He possibly could have been under supervision.
Yeah.
I failed. Would he have been angry at me? Absolutely. Would we have argued about it? Absolutely. Might he still be here? So what's it worth? Is it, if you can save your pop's life, and the cost is that he's a little bit angry at you, isn't it worth it? He's not going to stop me. I told you, one shoulder nudge and the door was open. He couldn't stop that. I could have handled this better. He could have handled it better. I could have handled it better. If I didn't want to be the one he was mad at, could I have called 911 or EMS? Excuse me, EMS directly.
Mm-hmm.
And had them come through and convince him to come over, right? Is he gonna, so is he gonna argue the same way? There were better solutions.
Yeah.
There were better approaches than what I used. And so what I want to illustrate is to the men that are in the same vein as my pops, right? To the men, that are, around 60, in and around 60, who don't go to the hospital, who stoically face through these things. Take this seriously. If it's not serious, they'll discharge you.
Yeah.
You pay for health insurance. If you have a job, you pay for health insurance. Like you have health insurance available to you to utilize. If it's not serious, they'll discharge you. Right? But take it seriously. And for those of you that are sons or daughters, piss them off. Piss them the fuck off.
Yeah.
Because they're better. It's better for them to be alive and angry at you. It's fucking better. Trust me. Share this, please, with, if you have a stubborn parent, please share this. Clip the audio. If you don't want them knowing, okay, I get it. You don't want them knowing that you do the Manosphere content, that you listen to the Manosphere, that you're red pillar, that just fucking clip the fucking the audio. He was supposed to retire next month. He's got grandkids out here. He's got brothers and sisters out here. He's got children out here. And we're all distraught over this. And and I'm gonna have, and I gotta carry this shit for however long I have left. I've got to carry the stumbles, the mistakes, the stupidity that I utilized in this situation. A supposedly smart person. It's not about me, though. For those stubborn people, it's about, for the stubborn ones that hear it, don't fucking do this to your kids. If you can prevent it, don't. Just take this shit seriously. If I'd have gone through those steps, who knows? Maybe it still would have happened. But won't know that anymore. And I know, again, I know the irony of this coming from me. Mr. Jokester, Mr. Troll, Mr. Smartass, Mr. fucking asshole. I get it. I fucking get it, man. But this shit isn't a joke, man. It really isn't. And I just want people to think about that. Especially, I want you to consider this. If just please, we're coming up on Thanksgiving, and I know how much people want to get together, and I know how hard it's fucking been for a lot of people to be away from their family members, and so. But this shit is real. This isn't no make-believe bullshit. I'm not no paid government fucking stooge. I'm a kid. I'm not a kid, sorry. I'm not a kid. But I feel like a fucking kid. I'm a dude who has to fucking bury, who in the next couple of days has to put their pops in the ground. You don't need to be that same fucking person. You don't need to be the same fucking person. Just take it seriously. Get your people to take it seriously. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I anticipated there was a possibility that this might get emotional for obvious reasons, and yeah, man, we with you. I've always been that person who, in situations like this, I never have the exact words to say, so I tend to just listen. I'm not good with this kind of thing. I'm honestly not. But yeah, I anticipated the possibility that this would that this would probably go like this. So you're okay. No need to apologize for anything. Like I said, you got the floor. You can take your time, take as long as you need. Take a break if need be. I totally understand. Totally understand. Stan, the Mac the trucker says, my prayers go out to you, brother. Yeah, thanks, moderators. You know, there, like I said, there's there's times for debates about the government and all that. This, come on, you know, the larger somebody asking a question, but when does it end? Talking about the pandemic. And listen, just pump the brakes and be cool. We may talk. Who knows what we'll be talking about later on in the show? But right now, pump the brakes, fellas. Pump the brakes. Stand down and stand by on all your conspiracy theories. There will be a time. There will be a time to discuss it. Maybe not on this show, but there's plenty of places to go and discuss all that. So stand down and stand by. But
no,
when you go ahead.
Oh, please go ahead. I'm sorry, I was just really clearing my throat.
Okay, yeah. When I okay, what you hit right on the head what I was going to get into, because I was sitting there because I know how stubborn men can be. I know how stubborn old men can be. It would have had to be a situation where you would have had to practically wrestle your dad down and throw him into a car and take him to the hospital. It probably would have been a situation like that. And I know right now you obviously would love to have the opportunity to piss him off that bad. So I mean, it sucks all around. But the symptoms that he was having, because they tell, and this is where it gets legitimately confusing. They say unless you're having these very specific symptoms, don't overrun the hospital.
Right.
Because I think everybody probably got a little scratch in their throat or a little cough or a little congestion. I just very recently was sneezing. I was on the air, so I was sneezing like at least twice while I was on the air, every day for a little while. Not that sneezing is one of the symptoms of it, but I was sneezing at least 2 or 3 times on the air and fighting at least 5 more sneezes. If y'all saw me, you know how you try to swallow a sneeze, I was doing all of that, you
Right.
know. So I've had little on and off, ups and downs of little sickness throughout this whole thing. And they say don't overrun the hospital, don't overflood the hospital over every little cough or scratch in the back of the throat. And would you say his symptoms leading up to it were exactly what they say? Those exact symptoms is dry cough, hardness to breathe, fever. Like, was it symptoms lining right up with everything that they said was supposed to line up with COVID?
Well, again, I can't speak to the fever. What I do know, I can't speak to the fever. What I do know is there were a lot of bear and Tylenol packs. Open, and there were a couple of, but again, he had back pain as well. So I can't say, you know, it's not like we hung out in his room every day. So I can't say that he had a fever. What I can say is that he had a cough. What I can say that he was experiencing body fatigue. What I can say is that he didn't complain of chest constriction or because again, I specifically asked him about those things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not to say he wasn't experiencing those things and not telling me either, because he didn't want to go to the fucking hospital. You know what I mean? That's so. It's hard for me to answer that accurately.
Yeah.
Because I did hear the cough, but it wasn't like a phlegmy cough.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like all day, all night cough. So that's that, I guess that's how I can answer that.
Right.
By the way, I have been completely asymptomatic through the whole experience. No, I'm as healthy as a fat dude should be. And
you're as healthy as a fat dude should be.
It's obscene. It's obscene how healthy I feel in current circumstances.
Yeah,
Um,
just to give some frame of reference, you had said before on my panel that you were, I think, 6'5", 270, or did you used to be that size?
I'm currently 6'4", and I'm easily 3 bills.
Okay, so you've gone up since then. Okay, so
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're somebody who's yeah, who you fit the description of someone who would be, probably at risk just off your size alone. They would assume there would be some health issues. Somebody who's overweight and have, very basically living with somebody who had living, like you said, you're 24 hours a day, you were 30 feet away from them
Yeah,
at the most,
yeah.
right there next to him in the room. So yeah, that's another tricky thing about this whole thing, that some people, for all we know, you probably got it right now. It's a good chance you probably got it, and it's just
Which
going to
is why
flow right through you.
which is why I'm
Yeah,
quarantined.
yeah. That's one of the tricky things about it. That's why those that don't take it serious feel like it's nothing. You know,
Yeah,
sports has started back, and we got the players getting tested before every game on Sunday. I think they get tested on Friday, and a lot of cases pop up where some perfectly healthy athlete, healthy as a horse, just, oh well, yeah, hey, you tested positive. Oh, I did. Okay, cool. I just take a game or two off and just chill, and wasn't affected, didn't feel anything. That's
yeah.
what makes it very easy for people to just brush it off. And something that I always said, and I hate to connect the two, but after COVID happened, it's like people was taking it serious. And then when the whole George Floyd thing happened, then everybody just rushed out the house and left the streets. And then I think everything got laxed after that, and it turned into a situation of may the best immune system win.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe that's the philosophy that a lot of people are carrying with this thing. We're just gonna just let the best immune system win. Just go to restaurants, go to do whatever, and so be it. I think that's the philosophy that a lot of people are carrying with this thing. Says sending my condolences from a person who lost his own father 2 years ago. Sorry for your loss as well. He said.
Condolences as well.
Yep. Yep. Um, Abandoned 718 says, my condolences, brother JudgeZilla. My mother passed due to COVID in May. Sorry for your loss as well. He says, I survived, but I have a large pulmonary embolism.
Pulmonary embolism.
Yes, pulmonary. I got it. Those medical terms, they throw me. I'm not gonna lie. had to pump the brakes and blink 2 times, make sure he wasn't slipping in some weird letters and syllables in there. But that's an easy one. I can handle that one. But he says, in my lung, rendering me unable to work. Tell others to take it seriously. Wow. Yep. Sorry for your loss. Be strong to what you're going through as well. Oh man. Yeah.
Well,
So, go ahead.
going back to what you were saying is you're right. Initially, people were treating it kind of like a blizzard, like it was going to be over with soon. And then it seems, and then I have to agree with you. It seems that people were taking the Darwinist herd immunity type theory that whoever it's going to hit is going to hit, and whoever is left over from that, uh, uh, is going to be what it is. And I'm a person who has been saying that, like, it's here. It's not going anywhere. COVID is here. Just like you have measles, mumps, rubella, flu, it's here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going anywhere. You're going to be dealing with this for the next decade. Easily. It's here. It's not the same thing. It's not something that's going to just be over and out and done with. And that's why people need to take it. And I don't understand hospitals, flattening the line, right? To where, hospitals are going to be taxed. And I understand that people are going to go in there you know, like you said, because they sneeze 7 times.
Right.
But, you know, and that's not part of the symptomology.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that there's gonna, but that doesn't mean that you balance, that you tip or you balance the fucking scales in the other direction when you when you can look down the line and say, look, I do have 3, 4, 5 of these symptoms, so I may need to consider taking this to the next level, and not just poo-pooing it. You know, that is the that's the mistake. That's the mistake that my father made, my pops made. That's the mistake that I made. Though I considered the possibility of it being Rona, I didn't act accordingly. I behaved counter. If I considered it to be that I should have just went all in on it instead of hedging my bets and hemming and hawing and going along to get along.
Yeah.
That's the mistake that I made, that I don't want other people to make. Because it's gonna, I get it. We can't escape the terminal situation. Right? It's gonna happen, but this didn't need to happen this way in my opinion, in my estimation, of myself, of my pops, and the situation.
Yeah.
And again, in the greater, Thanksgiving is coming up. They're also expecting a huge, again, spike, right, for the second wave. Like, yes, it sucks. It fucking sucks that this is here. These are the circumstances. You want to be with your family. You want to hang out. I get it. I do. I fucking get. You want to hug fucking Nana. You want to hug. You know. You want to hug your favorite aunts, uncles, cousins, nephews, nieces. All of that. I get it. I fucking get it. But it's one fucking Thanksgiving. Would you spare one Thanksgiving to have 5 more, 10 more, 15 fucking more with these people? Would you do that? I would. That's an exchange I'm willing to make. And I know it comes off as fucking bullshit because I didn't do what I was supposed to do here. I get it. But you don't have to make the same mistakes that I made.
Yeah. How are you doing with that part of it, man? 'Cause I know I know it's still fresh, so you're probably still beating yourself up about it. And like I said before, from the sound of things, from how you kind of described him, it sounds like, yeah, you would have had to wrestle him down and throw him in the car. He wouldn't have just went quietly. You would have had to. It would have been a fight. But how you dealing with that aspect of it? Like, just thinking about how you didn't just go all out and do that. Like, do you feel like this is something that you, I don't know, might need some therapy about or something? I'm no professional at. I can't diagnose you with anything here, obviously. But do you feel like that part will bother you? I mean, I do know my ex-wife, she lost her sister when her sister was 40. She died from I forgot what it was, but she beat herself up for some years on that, because it was a similar situation in that she don't know what would have happened had she just took immediate action. But she was calling her sister. They lived in different states. She was calling her sister. There was no answer. Let a day go by, called her again, no answer. Then they got to the point of being worried. It just so happened to be the case that a family member was headed that way or something, or because she was the only person in the family that lived in that state. So a family member was on the way there. Like, she was my ex-wife, her immediate thought was, right when there was a time of when they were getting no answer, they wanted to send a wellness check there, had a police just bust in the door. When they found her, she was passed out, but still alive. So
Right.
you can see how that messed my ex-wife up for a few years. Like, she was thinking that if I would have immediately just acted on my, initial instinct and just sent the police just charging through there to get her and catch her, early on, they could have possibly saved her. You never know. You never
Right.
know. So that was something that she definitely beat herself up about for a while. And so I went through that process of trying to tell somebody, trying to constantly explain to somebody, you didn't know, you could have never known. For all you know, she wasn't answering. She probably was, with her boyfriend. Who knows what was going on? So taking that immediately, just diving into action to save somebody's life when it's probably something small. That's something that a lot of people have to fight and balance with, because you don't want to just overreact and then it's something small. A lot of people lose loved ones in that situation. So how are you doing with that aspect of it, aside from just losing your father, just the mind screw of the woulda, coulda, shoulda aspect of it? Like, you think you may need some therapy on that one down the road? Like, where you at on all of that?
Therapy probably won't hurt.
Yeah.
I still lapsed into anger. I don't have any thoughts of self-harm.
Okay.
I'm not abusing any substances. I'm not drinking. I don't do drugs. So I can't compound. Right. I can't, I can't do that. I can't compound this on my family. I that's selfish. Um, in my estimation, I'm sorry. That's just that would be selfish in my estimation. Um, you know, I lapse into still anger with him, anger with me. Because again, my again, does that mean he's still here? No. But if I take him on Wednesday, if I take him on Thursday, if I take him on Friday, if I take him on Saturday morning, right? I'm 30 feet away from him.
Mm-hmm.
Less. Probably less. I didn't hear him call for me. I didn't hear any of that. I was monitoring him. Maybe just not as well as I should have been. But I was monitoring him. And I didn't hear him call out for me or anything. But again, if the heart attack happens, if the stroke happens, if the cardiac arrest happens, and he's at the hospital already, maybe that makes a difference. Maybe that's the difference. And then maybe he's not angry at me anymore. Yeah, maybe he's cussing me out while he's in there. But then maybe he's not angry at anymore. And maybe we have 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 more fucking years with him.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard, again, we as a tangent, it's very few times in the space where we talk about, I'm fortunate to have a father. I'm fortunate to have a father who's been one of my best, if not the best friend that I've had the last 25 years. And I've not been an easy person to be a friend to. And taking that relationship for granted, and the benefits of having a father around in your life. This is a good dude. we had a rough early part for sure. But we turned that around and had a positive relationship for the last 25 years. And I failed that guy. And I failed my family. I failed my niece and my nephew. I failed my aunts and my uncles. I failed my sisters. I failed them. So that's gonna weigh on me for a long time, and I'm probably gonna be pissed off at myself for a long time because of that.
Mm.
And the way my mind works, it's never not gonna be there. I fell down on the job. I fell down on the job. I didn't do what I was supposed to do.
Man. Dr. Low IQ. Man, sorry for what I'm reading right here. It says, my first daughter died when she was 2. It took years for me to deal with the grief and stop blaming myself. You never get over a tragedy, but you can get used to the pain and learn to stop blaming yourself. You'll get there, brother. Thanks for your
I'm so sorry for your loss, Darth Low.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for that.
Yeah, thanks for those words, Darth Low IQ. Thanks, and yeah, sorry for your loss, man. That's tough. That's tough, man. As far as you being quarantined, as far as like funeral and all of that, like how does even all of that work during COVID-19? I said it, but how does that work? Would you even be? I take it. Obviously, I don't think there's a federal mandate keeping you at your house. So are the funeral supposed to be when you're off the COVID? I mean, off the quarantine, or are you just gonna? I mean, what's the deal?
I might not make it, and we're likely not going to have a funeral. It's we're still working through that, trying to figure it out. Because again, he has siblings. There are other people his age. There are other people his age that live with family members. There are other people older than him who live with family members. So, I mean, at this point, the best that we're having is, maybe a viewing, and depending on the date of the viewing, I may be able to attend, and I may not, because taking this seriously. And that's one of the you're right to ask that. It's one of the complications in the scenario. It's one of the complications of him being dealing with him being released and everything. It's because there have been pockets of hot spots that have come from attending funerals.
Yeah, that's always been something that I thought about right away with this. If someone dies from the virus, this person is loved by a lot of people. Well, the last thing you want to do is get a lot of people to show up and gather in the same place, in the same small closed-in place. It's a terrible situation when you think about that.
It's that, I mean, and again, I mean, like, I want to be able to hug my sisters.
Yeah.
Sisters want to be able to hug me, you know, other family members, and you know, grieve the way we know how to grieve, right? Because there are social protocols that you grow up with, that you learn, that you understand, and this is how you're supposed to navigate this thing, right? And all those are kind of suspended,
Mm-hmm.
or they're not advised. They're not. It's not smart to participate in those things. And you would think by now, after 10 months, a lot of these things, you know, would with a lot of these institutions would they would have a better avenue to handle these things. But I'm here to tell you, they don't. They
Yeah.
don't. Some do. Some have better protocols than others, but they really don't. It's a cluster. It's a seriously. It's not as refined 10 months in as you would think it would be, given the ability to refine other things in this time period. You know. So I don't know if I answered your question, but
Oh no, you answered it as best as you possibly could. You definitely answered it as best as you possibly could. Oh man, it's terrible. That's all. It's all bad. It's all bad.
that's you know, and Bernard, again, I can't thank you enough. I really cannot thank you enough for you know, for agreeing to this. For those of you that don't know, again, I hit Bernard up with this on Friday, and it you know, I don't believe at all he was expecting this.
No.
But as soon as he read it, he agreed to it, and I give a great deal of credit to you for that, Bernard. And not one time did he send me an email saying I don't know, or maybe, or hem and haw. And again, with the way that YouTube is treating talking about this type of thing isn't favorable. So I really, you know, and again, right before Thanksgiving, I know this is not what people want to hear.
Right.
I know it. Nobody wants to deal with this situation. Everybody wants to think about good things, and it's all right. I'm gonna go hang out with my family and stuff. And you know, unfortunately, a lot of people are gonna do that. But I don't know. I discovered this space, and for the most part, I'm happy that I did discover this space, because the space has helped me out a lot, finding a lot of like-minded individuals that I didn't know were around. A lot of people that would have the conversations that weren't being had around me in my physical world. And thinking about things from angles that weren't being espoused rather, in my physical world around me, where it was only safe in the physical world around you to deal with the same platitudes we've always dealt with, you know, but without looking into the problems, looking into things. So as I've said many times, you know, and my pops would call me as well. He said, "Yeah, you're insane." I'm like, yeah. Well, you know, if I am insane, at least I've found other people who suffer from my same condition. You know,
It's funny you say that. I heard somebody say that about this space. They said they're all crazy. You're talking to a bunch of crazy people. Okay, yeah. I found people just like me. I guess I'm crazy too. So it's good that I get amongst friends. That's it. I've had that same conversation with somebody before. Mike V says, brother Judge says, sending condolences on behalf of the Black Brain Trust.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. I noticed a lot of people in the chat was talking about their stories involving this. I'm not doing a panel today, but there are people that was sending some support and talking about their their situation, their wake up calls with this whole thing. So I will briefly drop it out there if somebody else wants to come up, show some support, some love to Judge Zilla in this hard time. And if you have a personal story in this too, you know, I don't know if it's necessarily the right thing to do. Like I said, I'm bad with this kind of thing. But
no, I think it's great.
Yeah, I think two people who experience the same thing. If I want to chop it up, you know, you can come on up. This isn't just an open anything panel. You know, if you've experienced something semi-related, somewhat similar to what Judge is talking about, you know, you can come on and you know, and get it off your chest too, so to speak. So yeah.
And if I could finish what I was saying there. But again, and that's what I'm saying, I'm greatly appreciative to you because of that. This hasn't been talked about, I don't think, the way it needs to be talked about. Yours is the largest platform that I regularly deal with and regularly deals with me. There are obviously larger platforms, but they don't deal with me and I don't deal with them. Right. So, but yours is large enough that there could be an impact. So I greatly appreciate it. And just like what I try to do here, this isn't about me. This is about what I've tried to do here when I've been in my participation outside of my trolling is, you know, as I try to bring financial information and tax information and other information to try to help people in this space. I would have been remiss if I didn't do this. You know, this isn't about necessarily me. This isn't about necessarily my pops. It's about me not wanting other people to experience this, me not wanting other people to be my pops, and me not having other people have to deal with being me dealing with my pops. I don't want that in your life. You don't have to have that in your life.
Yeah.
You know, maybe the person that doesn't go to the hospital or is not going to take it seriously takes it seriously from this, and maybe if that person doesn't, the other person who hears this says, "Fuck you, we're going to the hospital." Ultimately, that's what I want to come from this.
Yeah. That's really the important. I mean, through all the layers of everything that you shared here, that's really the important part. The biggest takeaway, that if you have a scare, and like I said before, it's legitimately confusing. You know, you don't want to be running to the hospital over, you know, a little sniffle or stub toe, thinking you got COVID. I mean, but I think a lot of people do need to get that mentality that if you truly suspect it, you've done the research, you know what the symptoms are, you know your loved one is showing two of those symptoms, get them in there. It was a period where they were telling us to, you know, stay home, don't overflood the hospital, you're making it worse. Everybody, you're sick with the common flu, and then you come in there, the hospital. I had to take my son to get a physical. I feel silly about it now, but okay, I'll tell this story. Well, actually, I did. I think I already told the story on the air. Yeah, I did. He trying out for basketball. I don't know why they're trying to do sports, but they're trying to do it. They did tryouts with mask on. After they did the tryouts with the mask on, he made the team. They had 2 practices, and then I got a call from the school saying I had to pick my son up for a possible COVID-19 exposure. When I got there, the whole basketball team was in the office, and I'm like, okay, that's clearly everybody who made the basketball team with them. And then the possible exposure was the coach got you know, the Rona, and that's ultimately what happened with that. So, damn, I forgot the larger point that I was trying to make there. I was talking about rushing just taking your people in immediately. Something just slipped my mind. Damn it, I had a larger point I was trying to make there surrounding that.
But I mean, just even going by what you said there, King, you have 12 kids, 14 kids in an enclosed space who with four other adults, right? And then now it comes into the vein, the Brady Bunch squares, right?
Yeah.
Their familiar relationships and who they're going to come in contact with, and their familiar relationships, and are these people going to stop and get gas on the way back? Are they, you know what I mean? And so that's how this stuff, that's epidemiology. That's how it, you know what I mean? So
And,
if these symptoms are present in your loved one, I don't care if I don't care if you physically got to drag them out of it. I don't care if you have to lie to them to get in the car, to get them in the car. Yeah, we're going to go here now, but you're really going to go fucking over here because like it's better for them to be angry with you than for them not to be able to be angry with you.
Yeah. Yeah, what I was going to add to that and just think about with that situation that I just described, when you talk about the family, the Brady Bunch squares of it all, somebody within all of that is living in close proximity with a 75-year-old grandmother or great grandparent or something. So it turns into a situation where it's like, even the people who say, I've heard somebody say this, no, I'm not wearing a mask, but your mask works. So so don't worry about me not wearing a mask. Let me run my own risk. Let me just go around just coughing, hacking, toughing, just trying to just corona in everything I touch. Yes, I'm turned corona into a verb. But yeah, and those people get involved in these little ideological debates about it, but they're not taking into consideration that the more you are careless, the more you increase that probability of somebody getting it. And even if that person is fine, they could give it to somebody who'll be fine. Eventually down the line, somebody's going to get it who's not going to be fine. Real quick, before I bring full circle in, well, no, you can go ahead and respond to that. Go ahead.
Well, and again, that's why my focus in this isn't that, because you're going to get so much pushback with all of that and everything.
Yeah.
Because people are, but so that's why my focus is, if you see these symptoms, if you recognize these symptoms, don't treat it trivially.
Mm-hmm.
Do not give it the weight of consideration that it demands.
Yeah, absolutely. Full circle, what's going on? Welcome to the show, man. What you got?
Hey Bernard, can you hear me? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I can hear you. I think your volume is just a tad bit low. If you could do something to increase that. That's better. Much better.
Okay, thank you, sir. Shout out to you, JudgeZilla. My condolences go out to you. I come in, I step in, Bernard, just to say that I have a father myself. He's a veteran, and I just came across him, JudgeZilla, like 4 years ago. So I feel your pain. The difference is that he's still alive, And when this first jumped off, when it first started, I made sure through family members. He's out in Detroit with his wife and his daughter through his wife. And I checked with him to find out the status, exactly where he was at, Bernard, and the family out there, the other half, made sure that he stayed inside. He's only one, JudgeZilla. I only have one father and one mother, and they're both, God bless, they're still alive. And I, Bernard, not too long ago, I think it was last year, did a show with Information Man, shout out to him and Brother Moses, on something similar to not just this COVID, but just Black men's health. If it means high cholesterol, just in general. It's interesting, like today, later on after this show, I got maybe from now, 2 hours, 3 hours from now, Bernard, JudgeZilla, I have a physical myself. So I granted that people have insurance and don't have insurance, but don't take it for granted, because For Black men, we sleep on this topic when it comes to our health. We're either afraid, we don't want to go see the doctor. Coming forward when it comes to this COVID, when it was starting to go into motion, I made sure I took precautions. Bernard, JudgeZilla, I would hear people throughout, it's fake, it's not real, it's fake. I had to use my own judgment and say, no, I'm not going to take that chance. And I took every precaution I could, from vitamins, looking up information. Google is your friend, so to speak. Information here is free, so there's no excuses. But as JudgeZilla said, I do want to be around for the next 5 or 10 years. You get what I'm saying? So I understand. I don't know the pain that you're exactly going through, but I get it, JudgeZilla. And I do believe that Black men far and wide should take this seriously, especially their health. So thank you, Bernard. Thank you, JudgeZilla.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming up. Thank you for those words. Yeah. Oh man, I get at a loss for words with this thing, so I apologize if I get at a loss for words. Like sometimes I don't talking about this kind of stuff. Yeah, sometimes I can't find the words. But the Dr. Anwar Dunbar, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show. What you got?
Hey, good morning, Bernard.
Morning.
I'm gonna be quick because I'm about to get on the road myself. But I just wanted to thank JudgeZilla for coming up. As you guys know, I've shot quite a bit of coronavirus content over on my science channel, and just with the level of misinformation, like Full Circle just said, it's hard to know, what to believe and what the risks are. But I just wanted to thank you for that. And the more I know, the more I'll be posting on it. So I just want to say that.
Yeah, I'm pulling up your channel right now. If you're doing, you got a lot of information on COVID on there. Yeah, I definitely want people to go and check you out. I know this show that we did here today probably touched you touched people at an emotional level with this thing, but I'm sure Dr. Anwar Dunbar, hope I said your name right. I'm bad with saying people's names. Right. But yeah, hopefully he can give you got some video, something on there that can be that can give you the education on it that you probably haven't been paying that much attention to as well. You need to understand and feel the human element of it when it hits home, when it actually hits home at a human level and people actually experience loss. But you do need to educate yourself on the odds and ends and nitty gritty details. So I appreciate people who actually cover that. I'm no professional, I'm no expert, but I definitely will shout out as many people as possible and try to send people over that way.
Before I drop down, I want to tell everybody I'm working with a group who's looking at a mutation called G6PD,
mm-hmm.
which is glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. A lot of people of African descent carry this mutation, and particularly the men. And they're trying to see if there's a connection between that and COVID, because as you know, a lot of us have been dying from it, especially the men. So I'm working with them, so I'll be producing more content on that. So that's something you can ask your doctor to see if you have that mutation, and if you do, there are certain drugs you shouldn't be taking in this instance. So just FYI.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right,
good stuff.
I'm gonna drop down to listen.
Yep, thanks for coming up. Thanks for coming up.
Thanks. All right,
that's again, anything you could do to mitigate if you have access to it, to mitigate escalation
mm-hmm.
of the symptomology and its impact upon your body. I mean, this isn't a joke. This isn't. I get it. It's YouTube. It's the internet. It's Black people prone to conspiracy because not all conspiracies are conspiracy theories, because again, the dangerous thing about conspiracy theories is some of them are true, but you know, this is a real thing. This is happening, and to be cavalier about it, it is an unfortunate approach. And to deny it is a tragedy. To be cavalier about it is extremely unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We have, let's see, Irv Gotti.
Yeah, you know, I had to change my name to come on to the.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, you got the sweetheart, but
I never disrespect the show. You know that I never disrespect the brother. But I'm glad you had Dr. Dunbar come up here. Me and Dr. Dunbar have connected. Well, we're going to connect on a botany project for the brothers as well, on ways that brothers can start homestead gardens. This is just something that I'm very interested in, like gardening in a different palette, changing our palette back to a more, I'm not gonna say slave palette, but more of a natural palette. And of course, a lot of Black people would be like, "Oh, homestead and gardening. That's like, why would we do that?" That's something that we should really look at, and that's something that me and Dr. Dunbar are looking at, trying to introduce as a thought to Black men.
Judge, I apologize. Did you say slave palette?
Well, I mean, because like I've heard that, but my brother, let me tell you, like I've heard
that's where chitlins came from.
Exactly, but like, I mean, I'm not saying like we should eat chitlins or like eat like. What I'm saying is we should have our own homestead, home gardens, ability to feed our families, not necessarily off. When you talk about it, when I try to talk about it with other, brothers, they like, why we start our own garden? Why would we like be farming and stuff? That's like slave stuff. Like, no, it's not slave stuff. You need to learn how to farm and how to at least have somewhat of a homestead of your own.
Yeah, farming, and live eating what you grow, living off the land, as they called it. Yes, I mean that's definitely valuable. There's a diet. It's oddly enough, I don't. This isn't the actual term for it, but I think some people call it the caveman diet, which is a weird too. I've heard a little something on that, where they basically saying if our early ancestors didn't eat it, we didn't eat it. Paleo. There we go. Yeah. But no, it's joking. It's affectionately called the caveman diet, but paleo diet is is what they were actually calling it. So yeah, let's go with paleo diet, not slave diet, till we can get a good slave palate. The leftover, the inner lining of the butthole or whatever that white people didn't want to eat. But we're not going back there. We don't have to live like that no more.
My terminology is always, the name of my channel is Snow Sweetheart. So my terminology is always horrible. It is what it is. But I do speak I try to come with a lot of like reality rather than like bull jive.
Yeah. So the main point that you're saying is that we need to change our diet, because I mean, look, people got all their conspiracy theories all they want. When at the end of the day, if bad health is what makes you at higher risk for the Rona, the group of people who have the most bad health, whose health is the worst, then quite naturally the death toll for those people will be at a higher percentage rate. Yes. That's something that I figured out very early on in this. Even when people were saying Black people are immune and can't get it, the second I heard that high blood pressure, high this, high that, and high all those things that they named is what puts you at high risk, I was like, okay, let's give it I mean, I wasn't rooting for it, but I just made a simple deduction that, okay, in about a month, some data is going to come out that's going to show that Black people are dying at a higher rate. So if
Yeah.
the general point that you're trying to make is that yes, we do need to get our diet together as a people. Yes, we do need to do that. We need to stop making and accepting excuses for that. To shout out to Bill Blur, bananas are cheap, celery is cheap. All of that stuff that they say is so expensive. It's expensive to eat healthy. He said they're practically giving that stuff away. They don't want it to go bad. Please buy these vegetables. They're begging people to buy vegetables.
Well, that's the reason why me and because Dr. Dunbar is he's of a higher education than me. I'm a nurse, man. I just have a bachelor's degree in nursing, man. I'm not like that. I'm a good worker and I have a high understanding, but I'm not a doctor. So that's why we're working side by side to like eventually bring more awareness to homesteading, gardening, like urban gardening. Like you'd be surprised at what an acre of land can yield. You'd be surprised at what because look at what these people that are growing all these growing these plants in their closets, you know what I'm saying? But you can actually grow an actual whole. You can feed your family for 6 months off something that you can grow in your closet. Honestly, like actually for 6 months.
Yeah, I didn't exactly know that was possible. You could feed your family for 6 months off something you can grow in your closet. That's wild. That's wild. I never heard of nothing like that. I just want to say for the record, before I pass it back to Judge Zilla, I just want to say for the record that you're a male nurse that goes by the name No Sweetheart. I just wanted to say that for the record. But thank you for kind of lightening the mood a little bit. I appreciate that. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm gonna pass it to the judge and see what he got to say in response to anything that you brought to the table here. Go ahead, Judge. You got the floor. You got the mic.
No, harvest gardening, right? There are a lot of positives to harvest gardening. If you have the availability, hydroponic gardening. Again, ultimately, look, my pops was not a dumb person, but right, his idea of vegetables was corn. You know, intellectually, did he know it wasn't a vegetable? Absolutely. But in practice, in his diet, and as Bernard said earlier, and it should be common knowledge, but maybe it's not. So I'll say it directly. The worst shape that you're in, physically, health-wise, when when you get sick, either be it from Rona or from the flu. Understand, the flu, it's not safe to get the flu. The flu has a mortality rate that's pretty damn high as well. So, like, the healthier you are, the better your odds and better your chances are. So, to walk this back is to say that if my pops had a primary care physician, if my pops went to the hospital, he had a primary care physician, and he was able to get his what I estimate, again, given to his complaints, hypertension, high blood pressure, heart disease, more manageable or better under control, along with a better diet. Thus, is this as impactful as it is to him? I'll never know that. That's the question I'll never know. But it doesn't. That the fact that I can't get that answer doesn't negate the viability or veracity of the of the data.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I say that is because you need a lot of zinc to bring. Zinc is very good in absorbing nutrients of the body, whether it's antibiotics or whether it's nutrients in general. And zinc has been widely used with ascorbic acid, vitamin C, to resporic acid for vitamin C to pretty much fight this infection. I would really like to push the fact that herbs are very important. Like if you look at it, like most doctors take a Hippocratic oath, Hippocratic or Hippocrates, whatever, however you pronounce his name. He was
Hippocrates. Yeah.
he was a herbologist. He was a herbologist over a doctor. And can I share my screen? Can I actually?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I start my camera? Is that okay if I start my camera, Bernard?
You mean you're going to turn your camera on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, as long as okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this is a book on herbology.
Hold on, let me blow you up. Let me blow you up. All right, there you go.
So, like when you look at herbology, Queen Elizabeth sent Sir Walter Raleigh and a lot of men here. If you look at the Biltmore and the Vanderbilt houses, the gardens and the land is more important than the actual houses. The houses are old, but the lands are very well upkept because they have very good gardens. They have sandalwood, they have lavender, they have cilantro. They have so many different they have so many different herbs, and the reality of it is that is more important than anything. Like, if you catch a snake right now, you can actually help a person that's an alcoholic that has gastrointestinal bleeding by mixing water and snake blood to help them with their gastrointestinal bleeding. So we're going back to those days, unfortunately, because the home doctors used to come to your house. You didn't go to them; they came to you.
But I'm more of a proponent for modern medicine than I am homeopathy. But if homeopathy leads again, but if taking the route to and through homeopathy gets men to consider their health more seriously, then I'd rather they take that approach than to not take an approach at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always had my views on alternative medicine. I always feel like if it worked, they wouldn't call it alternative medicine. They would call it medicine. And doctors, I mean, you'll be able to go and actually get it. That's always been my view. But to the general spirit of
well, the thing about alternative medicine is it's not easily accepted. It's the thing about alternative medicine is the thing, but the reason why medicine had to be unified is because all herbologists aren't equal. Like all doctors aren't equal. All herbologists honestly, all nurses aren't equal. I'm a male nurse. Like my female coworkers come to me all the time because of the masculinity and the leadership and how I can lead them. I do better with women as a male nurse than I do it probably as a doctor because they actually see me doing the work with them rather than just tell them what to do. And that's how that works. I mean, it's a show and prove kind of thing. And herbs have always worked, but the people that have used them haven't always showed and proved.
Yeah, that's a really good point as far as showing and proving, because anything that we would like, you can't just take something and call it medicine. It has to prove, it has to have a consistent rate of reliability that's higher than normal probability or chance. So when people talk about natural cures, herbs, this and that, by all means, I'm not saying that none of it works. What I am saying is that if it does work, somebody needs to do the work of actually producing, what rate that it works. Like, for example, if somebody I don't know, if somebody has cancer at a certain point and they're going through chemo, it's valuable that the doctors are saying that can tell you that 90% of patients at your stage who go through this procedure, 90% of them survive. If we just let it go and don't treat it, 30% of the people at your stage, if we just leave it alone, 30% at your stage just recover naturally. There's percentages that we can work with. That's always my problem whenever anybody is talking about any type of natural cures, any type of alternative medicine, anything like that. People have been doing this long enough to where I feel like if it worked, they would have some demonstrable results that they could show us. So that's my only thing that I caution people with about that. But like as Judge said, it's better than the guy who just tries to alpha his way through it when he's sick. So I will grant that it's better than the guy that's just trying to alpha his way through it. And if that will possibly lead him on to the point of getting to an actual doctor and getting some actual proven medicine, and that's great.
Can I push back a little bit on that, Bernard? As a
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the only reason why I say that is because you will notice that a lot of, and you can check the date on this, and I'm telling you, as an ER nurse, because I work in the emergency department, we send a lot of COVID patients home.
Yeah,
we do. So when they tell you, so I agree with you 100% that you should not alpha it out. But there is an aspect of the healthcare system that's telling you to go home and alpha it out. I mean, it just is what it is, real talk.
Well, again, I think that's misapplying what triage is, but because again, the result that happens. Okay, the result that happens with my pops. Yeah, it's in the under 2% realm area, right? Over 90% of the time, Rona infections are not lethal, or death does not result from them or complications attributable to them. And so in triage, right, once you recognize that, okay, that the person wouldn't be having blood pressure issues, respiratory issues, or those things that would place them within that danger zone, right? It takes them out of the red and more into the orange, or to the far end of green, as the gauge would go. Then yes, you would release them back to manage their symptoms, appropriately with either medications or directions or instructions for diet, rest, etc. So just because they send them back home, that's not equating to say that they just throw them back out to the wolves. That's an assessment given and resultant triage.
It's not a
but instead of trying to alpha it out, if they're there and they at least receive the triage, receive the observation, receive the examination, then it is a lot more likelier for them to determine whether this person would need more advanced care than could be provided by themselves or a family member at home.
That's very true. So you're asking, so that's the problem, and that's the issue that hospitals are having, and that's the reason why hospitals are turning so many people away, is because they're getting so many people that present well that end up. The issue is because like this happened actually in Children's, right? Children's Hospital in Fort Worth, Texas. They had this child that came in with them with this cough and this low grade fever, and they sent the child home, and the child ended up dying overnight from pneumonia, and they ended up getting sued, and they went through pure. Excuse me for saying this. They went through pure hell. I'm not trying to cuss on your channel, but they went through.
You're right.
They went through pure hell, man. And the reality of it is, you're so right, my brother. Like that triage is so important. They don't let brand new nurses triage. You have to be an experienced nurse to triage. I didn't really get to triage much because I'm more of a hands-on trauma nurse. I worked in the trauma aspect of it more. But I work in the trauma aspect more rather than the triaging area. But the triaging area is honestly, if you want to know the truth, the healthcare system isn't perfect. But the triage area is where a lot of balls are dropped. A lot of strokes are missed. A lot of myocardial infarctions, which is MIs, which is heart attacks, are missed in the triage process. The triage area is so important. But hospitals have literally broken down to using text as the person that sits at the first person that you see when you come to the emergency department, the window. They are literally broken down to using text as that in that position, and that's too much for a tech to take on. A tech is literally looking at the first person that enters the emergency department through the doors, and that is too much. So
No, Irv, but everything you're saying is true. Everything you're saying is 100% true. But you know where every heart attack, stroke, and further diagnosis is missed? When they don't go in.
When they don't go, that's true. That is very true. That's very true.
You know,
so even if we dropped the ball, at least they were there and we could pick up the ball.
And again, from a personal anecdotal position, at least you knew that you did everything that you could have done. From a survivor's position.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? I know that I didn't do everything that I could have done in this scenario. I dropped the ball. I fucked up.
That's true. That's true.
And that's what I don't want people to go through. That I don't want them to lose a loved one because of this, and I don't want them to feel what I feel right now, the guilt that I feel right now, along with the sadness, the remorse. You know, it's unimaginable. I can't explain it well. And they don't have to do that. Again, if they know that they did everything in their power, they're not second guessing themselves. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, because when I go home, I sleep well because I know I gave it my all. Like I've pumped on chest till I literally thought that I was going to pass out. So I literally go home knowing I gave it my all. That is very true. And I look at it almost like football practice or basketball practice or like Friday night lights or like, you know what I mean? I mean, you go in there, I perform. I mean, it's like game time when I go in there, you know what I mean? Especially in that trauma center. It's like game time, like, you know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? People come in there shot and it's like, ooh, it's like game time, like start, like get in the game. And it pushes your adrenaline to another level, but it's game time. It's like, it's literally game time. And what would hurt me the most, and I feel so sorry for it, brother. My heart reaches out to you, my hand reaches out to you, because I never was able to justify losing a person, not a patient, losing a person, and their family members not even able to go to the morgue or not even able to enter the hospital. I've never been able to literally justify it. If I'm in the hospital working to save their life, you're here because of their life. Why come you can't see their ending of what we've tried to do to preserve their life? And it's sad, man. And my heart reaches out to you, brother. I'm sorry that COVID hurt you or hit you at the level that it did. But there's people like me that we're fighting for it. We're fighting against it. No matter what.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Oh man. We're closing in on the 2-hour mark here, and that's probably all we'll end up doing here. Judge, I mean, I know you said a lot. Any parting closing words that you want to give people on this serious issue? I mean, there's other people who's going through it. She says, my heart goes out. I have been through the same feelings with a loved one who died on my watch. It's horrible. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And you know, that's I mean, I'll let you summarize it, but for me, that's the biggest takeaway from it, is that you got the family member. Especially we're talking to the Black manosphere, we're talking about men, especially older men. They could be stubborn, old, grumpy curmudgeons. I don't know if that was your dad, but I can imagine he probably was, a 62-year-old stubborn man who like you said he hadn't been to the doctor or in 20 years. Okay, so that sounds like a stubborn old man at that point. Like he just, he's gonna walk it off. So in those situations, yeah, it's come hell or high water. Come hell or high water. You get them, get your people to the doctor, to the hospital, get them checked out, get them seen, and that's that. That's my biggest takeaway from it, from all of this. And I get at a loss for words because this is hard. I don't know how to. I'm horrible at consoling someone who's just experienced a death. It's hard to even talk about it. I never know the right words to say in those. I try to avoid those situations. I even try to avoid pre-corona. I was avoiding funerals. I don't like this stuff. I really don't. But it was important to bring Judge on. People needed to hear this. So with that said, I will pass it to JudgeZilla to give us his last words, his last parting shots, his final take on this issue. Go ahead. You got the floor. You got the mic.
And again, I am very, very grateful for allowing me to utilize your platform this way, and for this topic. If you're not older men, older people, if you're not going to go to the doctor because the doctor's just going to tell you what's wrong with you, as if that's a bad thing, then at least if you're showing these symptomologies, if you think you might be coming down with a cold or the flu, and your symptomology matches, please, please, please get yourself to the hospital, or allow your family members to get you to the hospital, or friends to get you to the hospital. The other side of the coin there being, for those of you who have a family member who is going to be sick, and you think it might be the cold or the flu, if they start displaying symptomologies that are the same or similar to Rona, which the flu is, fuck it. It's better for them to be mad at you. It's better for them to argue with you over some nonsense of you taking them to the hospital after it's poo-pooed away by an actual medical trained professional than it is for you to take their non-medically trained professional opinion about them being all right. It's better. There's no logical way around that. What I did was illogical. Don't do what I did. Do the rational, logical thing. And, if you can, again, please share this, clip the audio of this at least, and just share this with somebody who is a stubborn older person, or who's related to a stubborn older person. And maybe they can play this to that stubborn older person, or they can listen to it themselves and realize that this situation needs to be handled in a better manner than I did. Just quite simply. It really does.
Can I add that, at the end of the day, when you come to the hospital, there can be real brothers like me, real strong African-American brothers here to help you, to understand you, to care for you, to talk to you. We will be there, and we're going to stay strong. We're going to hold it down so that we can provide the best care, the most competent care that we can provide for you, and we will be there.
Oh, one last thing as well. Thank you to the people in the chat who've super chatted and who've wished me well wishes, my family well wishes, and condolences. I thank you thank you greatly for your kindness and your consideration. And for those of you that didn't, look, as long as you heard it,
Yeah.
as long as it got you to think a little bit about it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I got to thank everybody too. Everybody who came through, who dropped a comment, yeah, sending your condolences. A lot of people talked about their personal stories. Yeah, you know, this is it's hard, it's difficult. And yeah, I'd like to thank everybody who sent well wishes. And yeah, thank you too for coming up. Irv Gotti, or no sweetheart as you go by. Thank you for coming up and yeah, and giving us some words from the side of a nurse who's on the front line with this thing. So yeah, thanks for definitely for coming through and giving some words on that. Somebody just said fantastic sentiment. I'm getting you're a little late, fantastic. I'm getting off the air right now, but no, this definitely was a good one. But I appreciate that though, fantastic. Appreciate that. Yeah, we signing off right now, but yeah, again, Judge, yeah, sorry for your loss, brother. Sorry for your loss. No, it's going to be tough, but all right. And once again, everybody, thanks. Everybody who I can't. There was a few people who didn't understand the tone of the conversation. Apparently, they wanted to talk about Trump and their conspiracy theories and stupid stuff, and but thank you for everybody who understood the gravity of this conversation. And yeah. So with that said, we are out of here. See you guys tomorrow, people. I guess I'll do a shameless plug for tomorrow's show, doing a one-on-one with Black Ram 313, because it's therapeutic, man. So be on the lookout for that one. That's coming tomorrow. But once again, thanks everybody, and yeah, peace. We out of here.